want to create a blog, you want to start a YouTube channel, you may want to start a TikTok channel, you may want to start a Tumblr page, you may want to start a Facebook page, you may want to start to release music. The thing is, here is how to approach all of these things. People are usually interested only in one niche you offer. People could be interested in you, in what you do every single day, but there are just, for example, if I talk about finance and if I talk about releasing music, then these are two very different things. Of course, they are connected to me because I am the one that's talking about these things, or writing, or talking or writing. It's basically the only two things I can do. But the thing is, you actually need to think like you who would watch these videos, like the consumer basically, or the viewer. The thing is, they want just, and also the algorithms, for example, not for example, but the algorithms are, of course, very happy if you offer something, so like one video, and it does well or it doesn't well, but then there is just another video which is very similar to it, because then the algorithms actually can kind of predict if these videos will do well for a certain type, for certain people. If somebody, for example, is interested in releasing his own music, and then you record something, and so the first thing is about releasing music, and then you record something about finance and about investing and about ETFs. And this is then the algorithm then would try to serve this person who already saw your first video, the next video you made, and this would then just mean that they probably wouldn't be interested. Of course they could be, theoretically, but it's just like if these are all people, for example, here are 10 people, here are 10 people, here are 10 people. Of course, there could be amongst the 100 people, one person that is interested in finance, that is interested in releasing music, that is interested in recording stuff with your phone and maybe also with a microphone attached to it and releasing it to YouTube, or maybe starting a YouTube channel. Theoretically, but the more things you add, the less people are there that fulfill all this criteria. It's just math, it's just mathematics. So therefore, what you should try to aim for is all the ideas you have, all the ideas you want to talk about, all the things you may have experienced and you actually want to share to others and you think might be valuable to share to others and others might find it interesting. Just put them into categories and just start different channels. So, for example, if I want to talk about minimalism, then for example, for me, I have a channel where I talk about traveling, where I talk minimalism, but I also have a channel where I talk about personal development and also other things that are connected to my person in particular. And then I have to decide on which it fits best. So basically my process is like this. I have a new idea, or I did something in my real life, and then I'm like, okay, I could tell the actual thoughts I had about these. For example, when purchasing something, when purchasing a camera, I could just say, what if I just take all the thoughts I had and just package them into a short form video on YouTube or a short form video on TikTok, or I just made a blog post about it. But the thing is, you want to keep in mind that not everybody who is interested in cameras may also be interested in releasing music. Therefore, I have like a channel where I talk about cameras, where I talk about maybe what is the behind the scenes when creating something like this. What is the lights? What is the microphone? What about the light in front of me that changes the color with every sentence I say or with every beat I make? And therefore, what you need to think about is this. You actually need to think about the people who watch you. And you play a different role for the people in your life already. Of course, your friends see you as a whole. But if you go on searching for something online, for example, if you want to get into minimalism, then you just follow Matt Divella. But the problem Matt Divella now has is that he has this big audience on minimalism, but what if he wants to make a video about cooking? Then he has like just a very small percentage, and of course he then loses traffic with his future videos when releasing something. Of course, it also could be that all of these people are interested into cooking and he brings like a minimalistic approach to cooking, but it also could be that he then in the future just doesn't get as big as an organic reach anymore because he just made a video about cooking, therefore the algorithm doesn't know what will come next. The algorithm is just a computer program that's like very sophisticated and maybe even better in predicting what people will watch than humans already, since no human could compute all these data. But the thing is, you want to make it predictable, and therefore don't mix up all your interest into one channel. Of course, if you just want to start out, what I recommend is you just collect all the different topics and you just write them out, you record videos, because the channels, you can just make them at any point in time. But if you don't start actually being in the process of recording these videos or actually writing these blog posts, then what happens eventually is that you train the wrong thing. You train the strategic thinking part. You train like, okay, I want to create all these different channels, but you don't actually train, for example, speaking. In the first 2 years of blogging, which happened for me to be like a few years before, like I started seriously thinking about all of this like 2 or 3 years ago. And for the first years, I basically spent time creating this big system where I actually could put in my ideas to. Of course, this is also part of the process. And this is also very, very important because it's then very easy for me because I know what to do. And if I have an idea, I know how to make this idea into something that somebody else would actually watch, maybe. Because I never know, of course. But the thing is, what you want to try to avoid is sticking to one type of work when it comes to these different things and avoid all the other types, all the other parts of the work. Therefore, you have to actually experience the whole process and actually also maybe see which part of the process you like the most. For example, I like talking very much. Whenever somebody is like, oh yeah, I want to start a blog, and I'm like, I just want to tell them all the things I tell you right now. And the thing is, of course, it doesn't really make sense for me because I also could just create videos in the same amount of time and just reach more than one person. And also this person probably doesn't remember everything very well. I mean, it depends on the person. But if I record a video or if I run a blog post, then it's there forever for everybody to watch. And it's basically for free forever. And it's just a very nice thing. It's a very nice idea. And if more people started to actually think like this, then human thinking would just improve by such a huge margin because we could just, oh yeah, he's an expert in this and he's an expert in this and he's an expert in connecting this to this and this. So therefore it's already happening, but it will be much more happening in the future. So back to the basics, back to you want to start a channel. And now I would urge you to first just collect the ideas. The next step would be to turn the ideas into something. And here is one very important thing. Just don't think of it as the perfect video. This is just crap. Think of it as crap, because if you think of it as crap, then you're actually kind of okay of posting it. But if you want to create the perfect first video, which I tried to do for like years and I didn't, it's only when I started to accept that the blog posts I wrote, they had mistakes in them, that the videos I made weren't displaying me in the perfect light, that the voice I had at that particular time wasn't maybe the best voice, that my accent was maybe thick, that the things I said were maybe not really understandable. But nevertheless, what you are doing, if you are actually blogging, if you are actually recording videos, you're training the thing you eventually want to do. And if you don't do the thing you eventually want to do, you will never be able to experience actually the part that makes up this. Of course, the backend also is huge, especially if you want to make it good, I guess, but so much about what to do when starting a channel and wanting to start a channel. So this is what I would say. It's starting a channel. It's not about being now starting to be a YouTuber. It's not about starting to be a Twitter guy or start to blog only on Medium. It's an interconnected web and you can reuse the content and just, you have to think about all of these social platforms as one. And you are only the creator, the one that's creating the content. And maybe somebody will watch it.